strikes strange. I mean, right now, when you talk about Zuffa's, or whatever it's called, when you talk about their vision, what's their vision? What, getting Max Kellerman to tell everyone that Callum Walsh is the next Roy Jones? Or putting Charles Martin on a headline show on a Sunday night in front of 126 people in your garage?
Oh my God. Eddie Hearn cooking Dana White and Zuffa Boxing. It is over. I tried to tell you. I warned y'all, but y'all didn't want to hear me though. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, I knew this moment was coming. Dana White came in the game with Zuffa Boxing, and let's be real. I don't beat around the bush. Never have, never will. I'm Boxingego. I don't have to. I speak raw and uncut. Dana White, TKO, when they first started making announcements and making their way into boxing, right? Because for years, Dana entertained the idea of it, but he was like, oh, boxing is so messed up. I don't know if I want to get involved, and blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. But I knew this day was coming because when TKO, again, when they announced that they were going to enter the field, let's not mince our words. They were aggressive. They were like on some hostile takeover. We don't care about the sanctioning bodies. We are going to pretty much eliminate the competition and be the supreme leader in the industry, right? And so far, I don't care what none of y'all say, they're off to a really slow start. I don't really even know any hardcore boxing fans outside of real hardcore boxing fans that are truly watching these shows. That's why Eddie Hearn's cooking. He like, you did a Charles Martin main event in your garage. Like, you did a garage show. Eddie Hearn matched Joshua with Charles Martin when he was a champion. That was probably like 10 years ago, right?
How good is that?
It's good. Listen, it wasn't a tough decision, not because of the platform, but just it's another 5 years, especially in America. Oh, an app. Oh, streaming platform, but just it's
Eddie Hearn available on DAZN, as is Matchroom Boxing.
For the next 5 years, I am going to go into my 50s on DAZN.
And Eddie Hearn, he just did a new deal with DAZN and extended for another 5 years. That's what he's talking about.
Or putting Charles Martin on a headline show on a Sunday night in front of 126 people in your garage, in a ring that looks like you've just got it out of a local club show. I mean, what sort of fucking vision's that? Or better still, oh no, here's a belt and it's Zuffa. Look at the vision. That's not vision, that's control. Because the reality is, when he says we can't compete, they can't compete in this cutthroat world of boxing. Because it's a horrible world and they don't want to compete. They want to create their own world. But listen, at the moment, when you compare Matchroom shows to Zuffa shows, quite frankly, Zuffa shows are absolute complete dog shit.
Hey. Oh my God. Eddie is out here cooking it, man. He said compare my shows to Zuffa and it's absolute dog crap. Hey, yo.
Quite frankly, Zuffa shows are absolute complete dog shit. But they're going to get better and they're going to sign some big fighters and they're going to spunk some money, they're going to waste some money. I've said it before, they're clever people. But right now, they're trying to manipulate fight fans and they don't understand how intelligent fight fans are when it comes to boxing. You can't create these cards and tell everyone it's the best v the best, because it's quite frankly not. And the reality is, yes, I do work for my dad, but guess what? Dana White has worked for his daddy for a long time. The Fertitta brothers, that's who he worked for. And right now, Dana White's got a new daddy. And his name is Turki Al-Sheikh. Turki Al-Sheikh is Dana White's pappy. And he has got to do whatever he's told, because he works for TKO, which is owned by Seller and Saudis and Turki Al-Sheikh. So it took him a nanosecond to get personal, but that's because right now, he's right at the bottom of the pile in terms of quality as a boxing promoter. But as I keep saying, they're a good operation and they will get better.
Wow. Cooked. Now, I got to agree. The only thing from what I've seen that I have enjoyed with Zuffa is on Paramount, the quality is good. Now, I'm a one-man army. You see my quality. You can almost see a thumbprint. Autofocus, manual focus. I got it. So I'm big on quality. You hear my voice. You hear the quality of my work without a team. So I would definitely expect a big operation with money to have some quality. So I'm big on quality. I give him props in that department. However, Eddie Hearn is cooking absolutely when he's talking about your whole like entry to this game was like, we're making the best versus the best. This is the absolute best people versus the best people. No, it's not. Charles Martin, he got knocked out by Luis Ortiz, got knocked out almost by Adam Kaunacki, who lost to the guy Wilder, knocked out in one round, and AJ knocked out Robert Helenius, right? But he was getting bodied in that fight. So AJ knocked him out, Ortiz knocked him out. AJ knocked him out I think in 2 rounds. Ortiz, he turned him into the monsters from Space Jam. Right? Charles Martin was doing all right early on. And then he got hit with a left from Luis Ortiz and said, remember, I think it was Patrick Ewing in Space Jam, the original one. And then when the Monstars like possessed him and he went like this, that's what your boy Charles Martin did. And he lost to Jared Big Baby Anderson, who later lost to Martin Bacoli. So you got the fans trying to believe that you're making the best versus the best. El Rayo, I don't even know who he fought, and his face was all beat up after the fight. Caleb Walsh, he lost to a guy that every PBC fighter from Fundora to Tim Tszyu and Errol Spence all beat. 2 of them out of the 3 by knockout. So, yeah, they can improve, but we're talking about right now. For the amount that Dana was talking, the product ain't really living up to it. And then, like I told you, I'm the king of this boxing talk. Max Kellerman completely sold out and is in full company man mode where it's not even fun to listen to. He talking about this fighter got a Larry Holmes jab. What? Caleb Walsh reminds me of Roy Jones. Like, just blasphemous company man stuff. I waited my entire life for this, and they're like, if PBC put on the cards that Zuffa has put on, the old media, they would be like, oh, these are horrible fights. PBC cherry pick mismatches. Remember when PBC was putting on Keith Thurman versus Luis Collazo and Danny Garcia versus Paulie Malignaggi and Guerrero? The fans hated on those fights. Old media hated on those fights and said, this is horrible and a bad look for PBC. And why is Andy Ruiz fighting Chris Areola? These are the level shows that you're getting with Zuffa so far, if not worse, right? And now, because Dana White has the complexion for the protection, we're supposed to act like this is great shows. And then there was a crazy knockout with an uppercut, right? It was a nice knockout. But that is more likely to happen in a mismatch. When you got one guy who's in his prime and a little bit more active and younger, and another guy, Alubai or whatever dude's name is, Egyptian dude, bro, he ain't even really been fighting like that. You know what I mean? So, of course, you're gonna have, when it's a gross mismatch, you're gonna have crazy knockouts. Top Rank, they did that a lot, you know, where they have these mismatches, and yeah, it's a crazy knockout. But then when Jared Anderson fought Bacoli, he didn't knock him out like the dudes he was fighting on Top Rank when it was just their matchmaking and he was spinning dudes around. So as the competition progresses and increases, knockouts become harder to do. So for me, if you want, what Tank does is impressive because He'll take a Frank Martin who just came back and knocked out Rances Bartholomew, right? He'll take a person like that and knock him out viciously with 2 punches. And y'all know I'm big on Frank Martin as a quality operator and fighter. So for Tank to be able to knock out Ryans and Rollies and Frank Martins, who are all bigger than him, is more impressive than some crazy mismatch where the guy's younger, stronger, and bigger and more active fighting an inactive, older, smaller guy or guy moving up in weight. And that's what we're getting in Zuffa. So Eddie Hearn completely obliterated Zuffa. We'll see how they progress and how they build. It's new, so, you got to give it time for that reason. But I haven't really been impressed. Outside of the quality of, like, the actual camera quality, hasn't been good. They got Mark Kriegel doing haikus and dramatics. It's pretty much the same thing he was doing on ESPN. It's just on a new platform, right? And then Max Kellerman is unbearable now. Oh, Dana White, he's making a league. This is what you guys wanted, right? I waited my whole life. Boxing never had a league like the NBA. And it still don't. Just because you got these people like soldiers wearing the same outfit. And that's the other thing. Bro, it is real sterile. Zuffa Boxing is super sterile. It's not really a fun thing to watch. They got the fighters who can't get endorsements and they got to wear Zuffa gloves, right? They got to wear Zuffa like outfits. That takes away the identity and personality of boxing when it looked so sterile and scripted. Like, why? It just looked bland. You know what I mean? Like, Dana White and Zuffa is unseasoned chicken. You know what I mean? Y'all can like chicken how y'all want, but for me, I want some seasoning on it. Like, it just looked like a knockoff of the UFC, but just in boxing. Numbering the shows. We don't care about Z4. That work in the UFC with them type of fans. They might like this type of stuff. But boxing has survived for centuries on dynamic personality. Look, he got Zuffa gloves, and he got cooked. And he dropped Caleb Walsh, right? It just looked like, and this belt, look at this belt, bro. They got this Temu Z belt. Come on, bro. It just looked like you're taking the UFC and you slapped boxing on it, and then it's supposed to be dope. But UFC has always been a separate sport. Look at the fans. There's a lot of MMA fans that bag on boxing. They're not boxing fans. They always talk bad about us. Oh, man, boxing fell off and all that. Like, so why would you think that you can implement things the same? I want to see ring walks. I don't want to see these boring walkout, check for razor blades or whatever. It's not the octagon. I want to see what I want to see. And I feel like change is good for any of us. Whatever it takes for any of y'all to get about like Pac said, change can be good, but when you start trying to revamp everything, you're not even fixing the core issues. Like, we haven't even had a Zuffa show because they're all mismatches. We haven't had a Zuffa show where there's been a controversy yet. Fix the stuff like bad judging, bad refereeing, and that. You're fixing the fighters, their ring attire, no ring walks, no walking out with rappers and stuff like that. No, it's just real cookie cutter. And boxing is part of why we love boxing is it really ain't professional. Like, it really is just anything goes. In the world of boxing, anything goes, where you can get slapped like that boy Dean the Great or whatever. You get slapped at the press conference. It's just wild, wild west. And that's why we tune into boxing. So trying to eliminate and change all that, it's not going to be conducive for the sport. Let me know how I did. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. I'm out.